focused on resistance, where the goal of the book is not to analyze oppression anymore, even though clearly you have to have an analysis of oppression in order to strategize about resistance itself. And I have spent so much time reading work that allegedly helps us with resistance, but we have to read resistance into the work itself. It's exhausting to spend year after year after year reading like that in terms of social theory in particular, and not seeing yourself in there anywhere, or the questions that you raise, not just yourself as a person, but the questions that are crucial to people who are on the bottom, not necessarily conceptualized or written about by people on the top. So it's an interesting thing for me to look both ways, because I see myself as an agent who enters into that space of theoretical intellectual production to change the terms of the discourse, and yet I enter into that space from a terrain of resistance and activism. Many people don't realize that the early part of my career was not in the academy. Beyond being a student, I left for 10 years and I did other things, many of which resonate with what I'm reading in this particular book, or what I've read in this particular book. So that disconnect between what I was reading in the academy and what happens on the ground is a space that a lot of people are navigating and negotiating. And you can feel it in this particular book across many of the articles, particularly among the junior scholars who say, I'm in a position now to ask questions and to talk about topics that were forbidden to do a generation ago. And I can do that and keep my job, I think. But as we have heard, sometimes doing this work is threatening, it is not safe, you will not be rewarded, nor will you get a paycheck for doing it. So the expectation that people are going to love work on resistance is misplaced. That's an expectation of people who come to the work from a position of privilege, and not who come from the spaces that are in this book. So what I love about this book is that well, first of all, it helped me do a few things, all right? One thing that it helped me do was, thank you very much for the focus on media. Do you know how hard it is to keep up with media if you're not 22 years old, all right? And in my case, because I'm not teaching undergraduates anymore, my undergrads kept me, and grad students, but mostly the undergraduates, were constantly showing up with things. Dr. Collins, you need to read this, you need to do that. Can we do this in the class? And I would stand there going, and they'd say, give me the remote. And then all of a sudden, things would flash up on the wall, kind of thing. Because this notion of the media and social media and mass media and the potential, what it can do, is very much a new set of tools for an old struggle. And because I cannot engage those tools directly the way I would like, because I have all these other things I have to do, it's very nice to see a book that begins to take on that intersection of culture and media and politics from the ground up, looking at grassroots projects, re-looking at projects of the past through the eye of resistance. So for me, it was really a very refreshing read to hear what, and I've met Victoria, but I had not yet met Olivia, and now that I've met both of them, I'm afraid of them. This is a good thing, all right? Now I want you to imagine people who make me afraid because they're that good. Okay? I mean, there are other people who make me afraid because they're scary and they have too many bombs and weapons, and I'm not interested in those people. That's a whole different kind of afraid. I'm not talking about that. I mean, when you see intellectual leadership that takes us into a place where I want to go, because I don't go willingly. I'm not one of those people who will follow you because you're cute, or you're smart, or because everyone says I should do so because you publish so much. I will think about it. But this is a place where we need to go. This conference, launching this book at this particular conference, this is not the end of anything. This is not the end of the road for this kind of, this is the beginning of the road. For laying a foundation for work that is attentive to these questions of resistance not always framed through the dominant discourse of hegemony, but from the bottom up, and that recognizes the heterogeneity of the forms that resistance can take and that activism can take. So the question of from sit-ins to hashtag revolutions, the title itself brackets a period of time, saying we've moved in the last few decades from sit-ins to hashtag revolutions. But what does that mean to have these types of ideas in the here and now that are drawing from the past and that are looking into the future? So obviously, I stayed awake while I read your book. I mean, I think, did you know all this was in there? Did you know this, right? Did you know all of this was in your book? They're too tired to know. That's what it is. This is what happens, you know, when people do this kind of work, just ignore them. They're just sort of in the zone over here. We'll come back to you two in a minute, all right? But we've got the introduction, Together We Are More. That is such a big idea. That's a powerful idea. We have to be really careful that it is not taken away and commodified and used to sell us products. When Hillary Clinton talked about it takes a village to raise a child, and used that as a campaign slogan, I thought, well, it does take a village, but my gosh, Hillary, you're so far away from any village I've ever seen. This is really right in the middle of commodity culture in ways that are scary. So always reading critically, particularly if people are saying they're doing resistance, because, you know, doing resistance right now is very chic and in. You know this? You know, I'm chic, I'm in, I'm down with the indigenous Aboriginal cause, I'm down with the feminists, I'm down with the queer folk. I mean, wait a minute. All right, to really ask, what is at stake for this kind of work? What is at stake for thinking about resistance, for reading about resistance, for criticizing the dominant discourse, for creating new ways of doing resistance, for using old tools in new ways in combination and with new tools like my nifty little cell phone, which I'm totally in love with. You know, I'm a convert there. But the question of Together We Are More, as a theme that runs through many of the essays in this particular book. They are essays of survival. They are essays of seeing possibilities where there appears to be none in the past. They are essays that talk about different places in the world. And they are essays that talk about different ways of engaging in political struggle. What I very much appreciate is the focus on the arts. I happen to think art is really very important to running the political struggle. Because when you struggle over ideas and the capacity to say what you want to say, to define yourself, and push back against discourse that defines you as other or lesser or stupid or ugly or violent or whatever it is, that's a very powerful side of resistance. We cannot see that by saying, they won't let me do it, kind of thing. So I very much appreciate it when it comes to the spirit of all the new technologies. Activism, I had no clue what that was. So now I have 2 articles on activism that have given me something to think about. So much here. I'm gonna just sort of, music is in here. I mean, old style nail. You know, you should just need to, it's not like I'm trying to, I get no cut of this, by the way. You need to know, I get no royalties for this particular launching. This is just good faith, all right? And you should also know that this is not something I do on a regular basis. I flew a really long time to get to this conference. And I have been to many, many conferences and spoken at many conferences. And I've pretty much decided I'm not going to any more conferences unless I have to or I want to. And this is one that I wanted to go to. Even though, considering that Australia was burning down about 3 weeks ago, I had second thoughts, all right? I said, you know, I wonder if my family's all still worried. Is the air clear? Yes, it is. It's fine. It's fine. All right. But it's not easy. This is my point. It's not easy for many of us to do this work. Together we are better. Together we are one. Finding spaces to pull people together in conferences and in books and through music and through dance and through art and through spoken word poetry and through essays is work. it can take its toll. So for me, you have to be convinced on the other side of it, there's something worth it. Even if you can't see what is on the other side. That's not for you to imagine. I can't imagine what's going to come next. In many ways, that's for you to imagine in your work, in your everyday life. That's for you. And I would like to say that a book such as From Sit-ins to #Revolutions is one of many books now and to come that will help various groups see the connections that we have with one another. So I think that's kind of all I want to say. Okay, thank you.